into it, shall we? Red-Black Titan aggro. We've got some Kroxa here. Again, this is a card that I've really enjoyed. Specifically a curve that I think is very reasonable and powerful is we have Kroxa on 2, curved into Calls the Dead on 3, lets you escape Kroxa on 4. One thing that I'm a little bit suspect of in this particular build is that Creeping Chill is not a card that I've ever been impressed with as a standard playable card, really. There was like the Mono Blue Phoenix deck where it was like, okay, but for the most part, whenever I put this card into a deck, I end up cutting it after a few matches because it doesn't really feel like randomly doming your opponent for 3 and like chipping them away doesn't really feel like what this format is about. So I'm going to be thinking about how this card feels as we're playing games out. Another thing that's awkward is that, like, while we have cards like these that flip random cards into our graveyard, we kind of want those cards in our graveyard, right? So, like, the fact that Creeping Chill gives us value when it flips into our graveyard, but then exiles itself so it's not in our graveyard to escape away later is a little bit of a tension point as well. Let's jump on into a few matches with this one and see how it goes. We played a little bit more mid-range Red-Black Titan deck that felt okay. Interested to see how this more aggressive slant feels. It's real bad, Top 10 Hammer. Do not go there. Things that are the stones that are better left unturned. Easy mulligan here. Yeah, a lot of people have too much faith in humanity and haven't had it beaten out of them just yet. Yeah, this is fine. Bottom Calls the Dead here. Maybe I keep the Calls the Dead and bottom the land. Yeah, I've got a Scry. Let's do that. That land's not untapped anyways. Hey, yeah, thanks for the 5 months. It's a great time to get back into Magic Arena. This most recent set has produced probably the best standard format since GRN. A little bit of Sea Ordain. This card's been really impressive. I wasn't expecting a lot out of this one during spoiler season. It's just been super playable, especially alongside Teferi. Oh, yeah. Getcha. Sha. Jeepers Creepers. Speaking of Jeepers Creepers, my 5-year-old's been on a Scooby-Doo kick recently. It's good. It's good times. Automatic. Put my sub towards Sultai Control. Was playing it a bunch. It's my new favorite deck. Definitely automatic. I agree. that Sultai Control is great. Gengar, he turns 6 in 4 days. He is almost 6. February the 9th. Using kindergarten. Declan starts kindergarten in the fall. Speaking of people who have been here for a little while, Declan, when I was walking Declan out to the car to take him to daycare this morning, he saw the fire hair from the Hooglandia burn stream in the garage, and he was like, I want to wear that to school. So obviously he got to wear it to school. Well. Where can you stream Scooby-Doo? Scooby-Doo stuff is on Netflix currently. I think I'm supposed to Agonizing Remorse here. Yikes. Well, they drew an Uro. I think I'm just supposed to take the expansion explosion here. Yeah, the green saga seems neat in that shell wargy. The Scooby-Doo crossover episode was probably one of the better, really glad we took expansion, was probably one of the better, better Supernatural episodes the last couple of years. Well, I guess we're just doing this. Okay, I mean, well, that's very good in the event that we draw Black Source. I got plenty of stuff in my bin, right? What's a cheap deck to play? Yeah, and the Green White Enchantments deck has a pretty low Mythic win rare count. Red deck needs 4 mythics, right? Embercleave's not optional. Is Torbrand a mythic, or is that just a rare? That's a rare? Okay. Okay, well, if they find a copy of Expansion Explosion, we're very dead. But if they don't find that, we're in an okay spot. I don't want to kill this, because if I kill this, they will be able to escape Uro. Hey, Credman, thanks for the Twitch Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hooglandia. Hope you're having a good one wherever you are. So if this is a blank, they're dead. They draw an Expansion Explosion. I think they drew an Expansion Explosion. God, that's so unlucky. Yeah, but they can draw 10 and then have 7 mana, chat. So they can't kill us. They can't kill us, but they can draw enough cards that, like... Flame Sweep. Okay. Okay, that could have gone worse. I should have left an untapped land on top of my deck. So, I mean, like, kind of bodes well. They're going to get to Uro me. Fast Intervention is very, very good. 3 mana counter spells that don't always have to be 3 mana counter spells is quite powerful. I agree that we are very unlikely to win from here. Needed to blanket draw step. They drew the best card in their deck. That's kind of how Magic goes. I.e. Supreme Will. I think it's much better than Supreme Will, honestly. I don't think it's particularly close either. Why did we not Surveil Chill into the Graveyard to do? Because it doesn't Surveil. We were scrying. All those cards went in the bottom of our deck. Yes, for those that are looking to be better at Magic, drawing your best card the turn before you die is a strong line. I think we might have died, chat. I always appreciate when they let us draw cards before we die. It's always polite to be a giver before you make your opponent lose the game. This card seems real bad against bounce spells, but Bedevil doesn't do a whole lot here. Is this a Leyline of the Void matchup? I guess Murderers. I guess I keep that just so when I kill them. It makes them sacrifice an enchantment, bub. This is black enchantment removal. Brazen Borrower is expensive because it's a 4x constructed staple. It's a mythic. Let's try and Leyline them. Uro's pretty good against us. Making that worse seems worthwhile. Jeff over here cheating. Did you not know that card exists, Bob? It's real good. Nope, and Plague Reclamations is probably good to know about. Yep. Yep. Lead on Calls the Dead before Rotting Regisaur. We didn't hit any creatures or enchantments. That's awkward. We milled the Creeping Chill though. All right, that one hit a thing at least. Hey, this is a zombie dino for that. That's nice. Qualifying for the PT is hard. Have you considered becoming a popular streamer, Bob and Cheese, that Wizards of the Coast would favor? That Wizards of the Coast would favor is the key part there, because just being popular is not enough. Sounds way harder than winning a PTQ. Fair. I've been fined $500. Dang it. Sure. Complaining about the $500 fine? That's a $500 fine. Sounds like the rules. Yeah, Regisaur. Regisaur seems like a tough sell in Brazen Borrower, the format. This is how you beat a 7/6, Bob. Just unsummon them into the ground. Why can't I take their unsummon with my duress, chat? Please, please, please. And I'll hold on to the land here so that way I can play the second Rotting Regisaur out next turn. We're losing the Temur Reclamation for the first time, so I can only assume our deck is unplayable. I've literally never lost to Temur before, Bob. Every time we play against it, it just like does nothing and dies. And, like every time we do it, like I talk about how other people seem to be winning games with it, but it just sits there and spins its tires and then dies. Like even the last game even the first game we played here, Bob, right? Like they were dead on board and like drew expansion. So like this is like that game is just like a single top deck different from like them basically doing nothing and dying. Yeah, I think Gatwick seals it up here. Regisaur feeling really bad here. Definitely kind of a tick against the more aggressive slant here. Just getting endlessly tempoed. Doesn't feel very good. Thanks, someone. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I don't know. I feel like if I'm signing out Regisaur there, I just shouldn't be playing it. Which could be the answer. Maybe the answer is don't play it. I think I keep that so I can have an untapped land on 3. Feels a little bit bad to be drawing a 5th land here, but I think going 2/3 seems important here. I am going to discard some of these lands to Regisaur anyways. Three of a kind Regisaur loses to 4 of a kind Brazen Borrower. 10 out of 10. Well, I mean, this is probably a game where turn 3, 7/6 is going to look real good. This could be a game where we still just lose to Embercleave, though. Big dumb dinos, bum ba dum bum 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 bum. Yeah, I definitely want to block, right? If they cleave, I'm okay trading. Because if I cleave and they trade, we like discard Kroxa to this one and then Creeping Chill's lethal next turn. So we're gonna take 4 and then 4 more over here. Or sorry, 2 more over here. And then they'll die on the backswing. Got him. Ain't no thing. 7 6s. Turns out 4 mana Lightning Helix still pretty okay some of the time. Still pretty okay. Thunk thunk. Does this sideboard have just 0 cards for mono red? Thanks for the 17 months. It's me. Just like actual factual 0 cards for mono red. All right, let's fix that. Hey, Bon Jovi, thanks for re-upping that Prime Support for a quarter of a year. Welcome back. I mean, Libation's not really good. They frequently have a lot of cheap creatures. Yeah, it's an instant Bob. Card's good. I guess they do play the enchantment creature. Yeah, that's fair. It's still pretty slow for that. E2 Extinction's really slow and clunky too. Like, boarding in 3 and 4 mana cards is trying to beat the deck that's playing a bunch of 1-2 drops, like, isn't really a good plan. Yeah, this is fine, right? Double Bonecrusher's a good deal. You want Disfigure? Maybe Disfigure. We could play Redcap Melee too. That card's pretty reasonable. Kills Torbrand for 1 mana. Could also just play like more Bedevil. Bedevil's a card that's useful in other places. While also being good against like Sword and stuff. Legion's End is okay. Like, I feel like playing cards that are good against Torbrand and Embercleave is ideal, because those are the 2 things that are going to beat us most often. Yeah, I think Redcap is probably the winner. I think I just want a Bonecrusher Giant this on too. I think Redcap Melee goes a long way, Bob. This isn't terrible for us. We have Murderous Rider to answer her pretty cleanly.
You need more control.
We have 2 Lilianas in our sideboard to be okay against Trawlers. And Liliana has the upside of being able to kill Trawler through, like, one creature in play, which is nice. I think Redcap Melee is the card I'm looking for, along with probably a third, maybe even a fourth Bedevil. So, next turn, we're going to be able to stomp this, plus play a Mire Triton, which sounds good. Gain a little bit of life and have the blocker out. Man, he's about to rim us up, chat. Although, if they don't play this card out, I might just stomp this plus play Kroxa to grab the last card out of their hand. Getting a 1-for-1 with that seems pretty reasonably important. The eternal question. Has my opponent disconnected or stopped taking game actions, or am I disconnected? Today on this release ready client, we remind everyone that there's no disconnect notifier, so you're just left wondering. Man, that was a big angry champion. It's a $500 fine. Oh no. But chat, you gotta be a big studio to have a disconnect timer. Complaining about the fine, that's a fine. Alright, so I think I'm gonna stomp one of these rim rocks and then play Murderous Rider so I can start lifelinking here. Feels like we're in an okay spot here. I would not be surprised if minus 500 is the most used emote on the channel very quickly. There's 5 cards in my bin already, so this will be 6. So we can escape that next turn. Yes, this game's pretty done. Got the Creeping Shell in our hand. Gonna hit them for 2 in lifelink here. When you're escaping, you want to prioritize leaving creatures and enchantments in your bin, because that's what Calls the Dead cares about. There really is a command for everything. Oh, they didn't even let me put my sword on my Titan. That's sad. I just wanted to put a sword on my Titan. So I know we won the match there, but I do think we should probably have at least a couple of cards for red in the board. I think 4 Noxious Grasp is probably overkill. I also don't really love Duress. With Tymaret being a thing people are playing, I'm going to add a 3rd Libation. I'm going to put a couple of red caps in here. You didn't consider red at all? Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of tools that are, like, pretty good there, so I don't know that we need to, like, overdo it. But Redcap I think is a pretty good card. You can bring in Redcap against a lot of the Mayhem Devil decks, too, which is excellent. See, it's pretty good. Needs a 3rd land, but we've got a Scry to start with. Feels bad to bottom the turn 2 discard spell, but I think I need to just prioritize hitting my 3rd land on time. Double Regisaur hands are kind of awkward, So it's often hard to, like, get the second one down without the first one shooing it out of your hand. Perfect. Yeah, the art on Redcap is strange. I agree with that. Hey, looks like another Tymaret. Get paid off for putting another Libation in our board. I think I want to lead on Calls the Dead here, because Calls the Dead does nothing, just mills 3 cards. This encourages them to play Brazen Borrowers on our tokens before we get Regisaurs down. You want a Redcap altar with your face photoshopped onto it. Sounds great. Seems reasonable. Okay, so I can exile. That was actually excellent hit here. Seeing the strong synergy between Calls the Dead and Kroxa. And Fabled Passage too, honestly. So this Passage, even with exiling a card there, gives me the ability to play this Kroxa this turn. Worth noting, the Kroxa here isn't stellar against Brazen Borrower either, but at least if they bounce it, I get to play it and make them discard another card. So we got that going for us. I'm going to enter combat here to start, I think. See what they do. Don't need Murderous Rider in this matchup. So his Calls the Dead felt better than Ashiok. I think in a more aggressive shell, definitely. Ashiok's really only ideal when it's also emptying their graveyard, I think, too. I was down with a flu-adjacent thing Monday and Tuesday, and your stream was solid entertainment. Thanks, bud. Thanks for the biddies, Snorka. Glad to hear you're feeling better. If Evolving Wilds is standard legal, do you think people would be playing in the escape decks? No, I don't think so. I think Fabled Passage is, like, enough, and just the downside of your land always coming into play tapped is really high. So I think in general, you want to avoid that. Yeah, so we played a red-black aristocrat shell in standard on Monday that had 3 Ashioks in the main. Oh yeah, Wilds is legal, isn't it? So yeah, we know the answer to that question. The answer is no, because it is actually standard legal. See, Bob, this is how the games against this deck often go for us. Like, they do nothing and then they concede. Historically speaking, that's how my games against the Reclamation deck have played out. I don't know if Leyline of the Void is good here. I feel like my destroy target creature is pretty medium. So like maybe it's better than that. I don't know. There could be merit to like leaving in some spot removal just because taking out Uro is good. All right, sure. Says this is where we're at, huh? Do they play Tameo? No, not usually. It's a good draw. Looking for a Calls the Dead now. Raven's Cry Mew, go. Nightpack Ambusher. Yeah, there's a wide range of other threats they can board into. I've seen Niv, I've seen Nightpack Ambusher. Uro seems like it's become pretty standard. The animation is so powerful. Really sweet over the top. I think assuming we draw a blank, we just like shock this and then play a 4-3 next turn. That's kind of a blank. Yeah, I think I just play a 4-3 so I can start attacking. Oh, did they miss a land drop? They missed a land drop here, right? So Pharika herself has never been a card. No, Pharika was a card in, there's a green-black Pharika card last time we were in Theros. Pharika's one of the gods. Pharika actually saw some modern play in Collected Company decks for a little bit. Okay, so we're going to let this resolve. And then once they choose their cards, we'll get rid of their Reclamation. Because I don't want them to know that the Reclamation is gone before they pick which of the two cards they're taking. If they hadn't tapped out on my end of turn, I was going to Libation them during their upkeep. And the reason for the sequencing there is, if they had a counterspell, I want them to use the mana on their next turn. But when they tapped out on my end step, that gives me a better opening that way. We have 2 cards in our bin, one of which is this, so still pretty far away from escaping this. Move to combat here. So I'm going to lead on Kroxa here, and then Agonizing Remorse after, I think. I think it's right to lead on Krox before we Agonizing Remorse, because I don't want them to know I'm about to take one of their better cards before they choose what they discard. Whether or not we take Uro is going to depend on what's in their hand. There is a non-zero chance taking Uro's correct here, though. Yep. We'd really like to draw an untapped land here so I can play Rotting Regisaur and still stomp. Stomp it out. Stomp, stomp, stomp it out. Do, 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 do. Pew, 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 pew. I think I'm fine putting that back on top here. I want to kill their borrower since it's attacking us. Okay, working our way through these gusts seems fine. I'm going to continue to... Oh, actually, I should stomp their face, right? Stomping their face means if they brick here, they're just dead. I'm stomping on their upkeep because if they want to Aether Gust it... If they want to Aether Gust it, that means they have to spend their mana. See? This is how every other match we played against Rec feels. Like, they just, like, do nothing and then they die. Captain Awesome, thank you for the 2 months. I spend more time watching you than watching TV, so I figured you deserved this. Feel the burn. Thanks for upping for the 2nd month, Captain. And that's a good metric. I often tell people if you're on the fence about subbing to someone, you should think it's easy to compare to other streaming services. So like if you're someone who like has Netflix or another service like that, Disney Plus, and you watch a Twitch stream more than you watch whatever that streaming service you pay for is, you should probably sub to the streamer. Put your money where you put your time. Titan Envy. Yeah, the Kroxa animation is a lot less impressive than And then his friendo. I think I keep this hand. I think just like 3 lands, this is good enough. I put all my money into Reddit Gold then. Fair. Within reason. Spend your entertainment budget where you're spending your time. Oh, we should totally have a Bernie emote. That's not a bad idea. I put my money into timeout. So, I mean, if you spend a lot of time in timeout, I think I'm just playing this out. Blank or discard spells. Oh, party bus. There's only 3 cards in my bin, including this, so still a little ways off. Can Bernie emote be Bernie's head on fire? I feel like that could be construed in the wrong way. So probably not. This Murderous Rider is going the distance. It's going full speed. It's all alone in the time of need. It's the part where they play an Ashiok. Nikki B. Fields Grixis, man. This unfortunately makes us exile the card, so it like doesn't even bring us closer to escaping the Crocs. That brings us closer to escaping the Crocs. Nice 0. Yeah, I haven't... The team that I've been playing with isn't really optimized for fighting the clan boss. I'm just like using my arena team for the clan boss because I don't have that many heroes yet. I don't know. At this point, Hex, I feel like I trust Sanders to pick a good VP more than I trust any of the other candidates to not pivot their plans more. I also feel like they wait to pick VP candidates because there could be some VP candidates from other people that drop out of the race after the first couple primary stops. Thanks for the 31 months, Python. Welcome back.
Let your weak minds crumble.
Is there soot in my future opponent? There could be some soot in my future. HRC is Hillary Clinton, right? I really hope she's not a VP pick. That sounds like a bad way to dumpster your campaign. That does not sound like it would be healthy for your campaign. It's not normal to sell this many candidates this far along the process. If I'm being honest, I don't know the answer to that offhand. Alright, so I think I want a Remorse here and getting rewarded. So, get to take their... This is their hand, right? No, it's not their hand. It's their graveyard. Woo! Woo! Almost did noopsie, chat. Almost did noopsie poopsie. Whew! Agonizing Remorse exiles. That ritual soot's gone. It's bye-bye. C. Fisher, thanks for the 4 months. Welcome back. It doesn't default to the graveyard. The issue, in fact, is explicitly that it's random which zone it shows you. Yes, it's even worse. Random is worse than always defaulting to the graveyard. And before anybody says it, because someone always says it, no, it does not default to showing you the zone with more cards in it. There are plenty examples of that not happening. Every time, there's always someone that pipes up that's like, it shows you the zone with more cards in it. It's not how it works. Clockwork. Can you bump Pioneer Dragons? You definitely can, Terran Terror. Thank you for the absurd tier 3 resub. Welcome back. As a heads up for Pioneer fans, tomorrow is my last Pioneer Day on the schedule this week. I have something I have to do Friday morning, so I won't be live until like 9:30, and we're going to start right with Historic. But I think I'm going to stream Saturday night after... I think I'm going to stream Saturday night after the PT wraps up. Probably fit some more Pioneer in then. Make up for the couple of mornings I had to miss. Does it show the one that screws with you the most? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. They needed some Hearthstone RNG, so they added it to the display on that card. Yes. Yes. I'm sending both of these here. I know they're at 10, but like the odds of us closing this game out are really low here. And I feel like they're baiting into me only attacking this with one. Nessie is bigger than the Titan. Can I get a flavor judge ruling on that? Do we think it's accurate that Nessie is bigger than my Titan? Hey, nice, Sick Doug. Good luck at your IQ this weekend. And to Mac, thanks for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. Flavor Judge says Nessie's as big as a lake. And we did just discuss how this is the baby Titan, right? Woof. All right. Dreadhorde General sounds good. I think I just trim these Creeping Chills. Just bring in some extra Planeswalker removal so I can kill their threats. We spent a lot of resources killing Bolas that game. And if we don't have to do that this time around, we'll probably be better off. Yeah, I think I'm supposed to mulligan that first one. I'm gonna keep this bottom of Dino. Hey, we haven't lost to Grixis yet. We're playing best of 3 here. It's a good rip. Why don't I see people that make decks like 15 main deck Planeswalkers game 1 and go to aggro post board? So that's referred to as a transformational sideboard in Magic. And the answer is you don't see that happen because they're generally not very good. The last time I played a deck with a transformational sideboard that was actually competitive was actually during the last Theros set. There was a Mardu aggressive deck that I played. That was very reasonable. I don't know, the vehicles deck was like pretty big to start. I guess some of them boarded up into sweepers. Did they just bounce that instead of... They must have misclicked there, right? That's true. Boarding in Fae of Wishes is that kind of effect in like Control Mirrors. That's true too. That style of thing, how good it has to be is pretty different. Is a lot higher when open deck lists are a thing. Yeah, that's the other thing too, like, people playing linear decks also make that a little bit rough. Hitting Kroxa here is great. We'll get to escape the Titan next turn. These two cards together, I don't know that this build's ideal, but I would be surprised if there's not a competitive deck in this format somewhere that doesn't play both of these. Phoenix could be interesting as an additional threat. Rotting Regisaur and Creeping Chill have both been kind of middling. So I could see Phoenix in one of those slots. The mana was just a little bit awkward, BSQ. It felt like the payoff for being in Jund was quite low. Binding of the Titans is okay. Only milling 3 cards versus milling 6 is a pretty big difference. And the fact that, like, this does something on its own by making 2/2s is also really relevant. So I think Binding of the Titans is, like, markedly worse. And sometimes it draws you 2 cards by scrying away 2 bricks. Get to get these 2 out, put them under a lot of pressure to encourage them to Ritual of Soot before I escape this. And there is just like 11 cards in my graveyard right now, so we can escape this twice as is, which is nice. Yeah, probably Peel. I didn't realize that I was attacking when I scryed. I didn't look at the card that I drew for the turn. I definitely should have. Yeah, we played a more mid-rangey build of this archetype in Standard, and I think I preferred that build. If they have a Ritual of Soot here, we're going to be in some trouble, I think. If they don't have a sweeper, we're in a pretty good spot. They discarded Enter the God Eternals. That doesn't feel like it bodes well for our hero.
You have no weakness I cannot exploit.
Yeah, that's true, Chuki. Just believing Chu. Yeah, that's probably correct to bottom them. Even if we see that, because in the event they don't block, we get pretty got. Alright, they just have a spot removal spell here. Bonecrusher Giant is a very good draw. Because it means even once they do that, I get to kill this. We have 7 cards in the bin, including this one, so we get to escape this back next turn. Jeremy Lee, thank you for the Twitch Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Thanks for keeping me around. You can see them like enter the God of Turtles here. Kill this. They're still pretty low though, and like the 4/4 is smaller than this. Okay. I wonder if they're not playing Kroxa themselves. I feel like they probably should be. They can get like some extra value out of their bin. Other than mission briefing, we haven't seen them use their graveyard at all as a resource. Catch you later, Karn. Yep, it'll be up on YouTube later as always. That's a good observation. They might not have the red sources to cast it consistently. There's like blue-black nickel bolas essentially. Double top. That's a little scary. Even if they hit the sweeper here, I have 2 more threats in exile. Sure.
The shadows awaken.
Hungry Kroxa. Bin that one, yep. Gives us the 4th card in the bin. So it means we can put this back into play next turn too if we really want. Cute. I think I just fetch and then I just 6 them, right? Just like Kroxa. Just put you dead on board. Kroxa's been really powerful. I think cards that have that generate value as games go along like this have a lower bar to being good. This one, the fact that like it hurts them when they can't discard's a big deal too. It like gives you something useful to do with your mana. Why didn't they bounce my Kroxa? I guess I could just replay it. So this is lethal. I get to get a game 3 here. Yeah, but like that's not how Magic works, Velcro. I agree that like Uro's probably the stronger card, but like not every deck's a blue-green deck, right? So like if there's decks that aren't blue-green decks, they probably don't mind playing Kroxa if Kroxa's in their colors. Like I could see Kroxa being a very reasonable inclusion, like a Jund mid-range deck in older formats. Uro has better lines of text if both cards are colors. Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. Sure. There are strategies that don't want to ramp in cantrip. There are strategies that don't really care about the ramp. I would challenge you to show me things that don't care about cantrips, though. Just like having a card randomly draw a card is good. Yeah, the Mana Fear combo deck's fine. One of the important things to remember that I often get questions about is just because I'm playing or not playing something on this stream in no way, shape, or form reflects how I feel about that as an archetype. Everything we play here pretty much is viewer-powered submission, so my like or dislike for something does not dictate how much or how little we play it. I think it's right to take the Rider there because I have this Dreadhorde General in my hand. I can go either way on that, though. Would love to draw an untapped land next turn, so that way we can start cleaving them. Make just, like, single threat we have extra powerful. How much do I change user-submitted decks? The largest things I change in viewer-submitted decks tend to be mana-based and sideboard related. If I accept a donation, usually it means the core idea of the main deck seems reasonable, and I'm going to try and stick to that. As for when the changes happen, the deck lists you see in the deck queue are decks that the viewers themselves have sent in card for card, and generally speaking, I make changes to them the night before. So the night before, I import the list that someone submitted and then make changes so we can play it the next morning. Yeah, but I mean, like, those decks are good for people like watching those decks. And I think it's fair to say that, like, the more a deck is submitted, the more people like watching it, or at least the more people with money like watching it. I think it was Colbert had a bit on one of his shows where he was like, Bloomberg should just run the campaign. I'm Mike Bloomberg. You should vote for me for president or else all commercials for the rest of your life will be Mike Bloomberg commercials. It was funny because it's sad. Any tips on how to be a better judge of what goes in a sideboard? Yes! The best way to think about building sideboards is you need to spend more time thinking about what goes in your sideboard when you're not playing games of Magic. So, the best way to figure out what should be in your sideboard is sit down with your main deck and go, when I'm playing this deck against blue-green ramp, I have 4 cards in it that are bad, or 5 cards in it that are bad. And then that means you need that many cards in your sideboard that are good in that matchup. You should look at your main deck and walk through, okay, I have this many cards that are good. Okay, I have this many cards that are bad. And then you want to make sure that all your ins and outs line up. Gosh, Kroxa with Liliana is great. Would it be easier if people put, no, it would not automatic. A lot of people build fine mana bases. I don't edit every mana base.
This looks like a fun new toy.
No, that's actually not what I said, Felcrow. Sideboard should be tailored to the meta is actually a bullshit bad advice. People often overstate the degree to which you can metagame in Magic the Gathering. It is frequently just wrong to make big changes to your deck based on what you expect the metagame to be, because with the exclusion of exceptionally bad Magic formats tend to be incredibly varied. So again, the correct way to approach building your sideboard is to not make random guesses to what you think the meta will be. It's to think about what cards are bad in specific matchups, and then have a balanced sideboard for all the matchups, not overtune for a very narrow subset of matchups. You shouldn't go, okay, Simic Ramp's really popular, so I want 8 cards in my sideboard for Simic Ramp. Because that, in instances like that is how you end up with too many cards to board in and not enough to board out. How many cards for a particular matchup are in your sideboard should be dictated by how many bad cards for that matchup are in your deck. Isn't Magic a little bit too big to cover all the matchups? No, it's really not. You can think through the top dozen decks that you think you might play against at any given point. Good games, Jeremy. I hope Bloomberg wins the presidency so we know exactly how much money it costs to buy a first world country. It's funny because it's sad. There isn't an objective measure for that, Shady Spear. So, there's a quote from another Magic player, I think it was Andrew Ellenbogen, who's a player who won one of the Mythic Championships, or the Pro Tours before there were Mythic Championships or something. And he said, being good at Magic is the art of extrapolating meaningful data from statistically insignificant sample sizes. And that it's really true. Like, I feel like a lot of people think a lot of the decisions that get made with regards to people who play Magic a lot, they think those decisions are a lot more data driven than they actually are. There's so many variables in Magic that you can't calculate most of these things in objective manners. A large amount of it is just educated guesswork. Sacrifice a creature, each opponent loses 1 and you gain 1. That's interesting. So this is good with these alongside Nightmare Shepherd, right? Would it be fair if we only play Arena to spend extra attention to our sideboard for aggro matchups? No, I don't even think that's true, Beef Chief. Again, like, I think that's just sample bias on your part. You think there's more aggro decks, so you're skewing it that way. I think the balancing of percent of seen decks, the ratio of answers for those matchups is something to consider. Well, but again, this is the things people are talking about. People are making statements based on us. The statements people in chat are making right now are statements you can only make with good information, and the information you need to have that is it just doesn't exist. Like, for Magic, that info doesn't exist. That is not a metric I have offhand, Cordemi. I don't break out my Twitch income from just, like, the difference from bits and subs and all that. There's probably more aggro decks in Bronze, though, right? So, like, what you're doing there, Tool of the Devil, to play... You're playing the Devil's Advocate for no reason. So, like, you're like, there's probably more in Bronze, right? And now you're putting the onus on me to tell you why you're right or wrong. That's not how debates and discussions work in good faith positions. If you think that that's right, can you explain why it's right instead of putting a question mark at the end of it? And if you can't explain why it's right, it probably isn't. But like, when you're trying to say this is something that's correct, you're supposed to prove that it's correct, not expect the other person to prove that it's incorrect. Hey, Tobto, thanks for the biddies. I appreciate it. think that all check/fast lands should be in Pioneer. Well, all the check lands are in Pioneer. Check lands are the buddy lands, like Dragon Skull Summit and stuff. My hometown was a Magic deck. What colors would it be? Pocket Sevens. Thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hooglandia. We're still 1 card short in my bin. Not such a tilt. I grew up in a pretty boring Chicago suburb. Although you could say my current hometown is called Bloomington Normal. So like, you know, a town called Normal is probably white. As far as Magic identity goes. I feel like white's the most vanilla color in Magic. Why does having fewer cards default to aggro? What about having fewer cards makes aggro more likely? That's probably accurate, Beetle. I don't know offhand, though. It's probably a metric you could look up. My favorite thing to say, Ironclad, when people are like, well, to play the devil's advocate is the devil has enough advocates, he doesn't need you to. Nope, you totally should. Totally should borrow that. Are we dead to a Gray Merchant? If they Gray Merchant us, they have 6 devotion. They're only taking 3, so we're Gray Merchant's 1 short here. That's not particularly useful with how low they are. Should be dead. I think I just want to bring in some more removal. I'm going to cut these Creeping Chills, so I don't think I want to be super linear. Bring in Eat, bring in Liliana. Have a little bit of more grind / interaction at our top end. We're only on 24 lands in this deck. This card's a little ambitious in the sideboard. For Shadow Legends, is it better to concentrate on one team or spread out and have multiples? The number one piece of advice is get a champion to 6 stars first, Rigeld, that can farm the higher levels. Because once you can farm one of the campaign stages on Brutal, you'll level up the rest of your team a lot faster. It's like, if you farm Brutal stage 12, you get like 8,000 XP per character per run, as opposed to much lower in like the normal and hard difficulties. Both the Archer and the Mage starter should be able to farm the higher difficulties there better. Yeah, get some units up to like 5 and 6 stars. Is Raid actual combat or more of a combat sim? So it's a little bit of both. So they have an auto battle mode for the levels that you're kind of over equipped for. So like when you're farming the campaign level like I talked about, you just like put your team in and hit go and it kind of clears it like an auto battler. But for some of the more difficult stages, you lose efficiency when you do the auto battle mode because the auto battler like isn't as efficient as you would be actually playing. I think I'm supposed to just Remorse here on 2. I could play Triton, but like setting my graveyard up doesn't really do much. It makes this slightly more likely to make a 2/2. I think I want a Remorse in case I can take like an Ayara before they stick it. I have Bedevil for this, but they have Drill Bit as well. And I guess I have Rider for Ayara. So I'm going to go ahead and take this. I've never played Pokemon Quest, but I would describe the gameplay in Raid Shadow Legends to be very similar to the Pokemon video game, with a little bit more knobs to turn for customization. They're like, Raid is like if your Pokemon had like different gear that they could wear and other stuff like that to customize them more, past just their combat moves. Not surprised to see Embercleave eat it there. Drawing the red source is fantastic. Lets us Bedevil this Ayara right away. Let's take her right on out. I think I just bin the Giant. Nah, I probably bin Mire Triton. The 2/1 doesn't really do much against the Bugler Rat, huh? Who's my favorite faction in Raid? Faction is like undead and stuff, right? I think Seeker is my favorite champion in it. And he's an undead champion. Hey, Gear World, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hooglandia. The Archer or the Wizard are probably the two best starters. I picked the Archer. She has 2 AoEs, but they're both pretty good. Feel like we're in a pretty good spot. We're both kind of low on resources. We've got these adventure creatures waiting to be recast. What type of stand-up desk do I use? So I have a brand called Uplift for my current desk, and I would explicitly not recommend Uplift. When I finally escape contractor hell and find someone to refinish my new office, I will be getting a new one. The electronics in this one are kind of crap. I frequently push the preset to raise it up, but I have to hit it again because it's bugged. The Orc starter is fine. All the starters are like reasonable in different ways. Yeah, that's fine. I think he's slightly worse for campaign farming, but you can open other characters that campaign farm. I haven't even found one to start work yet. We're already in contractor hell. It's very possible. I wouldn't be surprised if their commercial model is fine. So like the Uplift desk I have is literally like, it was like the cheapest standing desk you could get, which I kind of feel like I got what I paid for. Will not buy cheap things that I use every day. Thanks for the tier 3, Mr. Oni. I appreciate the 2/3 of your support and that absurd generosity. I've enjoyed the actual gameplay in Raid like it is, but it's definitely a very grindy game, and if you don't enjoy grinding for gear, like grinding to level things up, you're not gonna enjoy it. It is also peak mobile game in that like there's deals that pop up when you log in, but if you don't mind closing those out. You know, if you do give it a try, you should use one of the Hooglandia referral links. The game gives you referral links to refer friends, and you get extra bonuses if your friends play. So some of the other people put together a spreadsheet. Is it graphically demanding for a mobile game? I don't really have a good comparison. I haven't played a ton of mobile games. Oh, Diamond 4 rank floor. Let's play one more with this one. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll do some Esper mid-range. You should post it in the subs Discord, Zero, and it'll get added to that Google Doc that I just linked. Yeah, seems fine. I think I bottomed this in the dark against turn 1 Watery Grave. I think I was like looking for a Kroxa to grind some value and close quickly against Esper or Grixis. If I get bored of Raid at some point, I'll probably try Mana Strike. I don't really play multiple mobile games. Like, I play one until it escapes my attention. I've been playing Raid for a little over a month, and it's fun. So just so you know, people are legally obligated to disclose if someone is paying them money when they're promoting a product, Dr. Jack. So, Raid is explicitly not giving me money. In fact, I've paid them some money. I'm probably gonna tag them on Twitter again tonight, telling them they should give me some in-game stuff at least. I don't even really want them to pay me at this point. I would settle for them shipping me some in-game stuff. I think we do Kefnet versus these. Outside of our couple of Embercleaves, we don't really have anything to despark, right? Yeah, I haven't touched the Warhammer TCG for a little bit. The problem with the TCG is that, like, when the player base is small, the queue times are long. And while I was enjoying Warhammer from a gameplay perspective, their queue times just got way too long. I mean, most mobile game sponsorships pay well. When I turn down mobile game sponsorships, usually they're large dollar amounts. Yes, correct, which makes it's a very big chicken and egg problem. The queue times are long, so people quit because the queue times are long, so the queue times get longer. Oh, this is super unfortunate. Because now, I guess I don't want either of these cards, so it doesn't matter. But, like, I'm gonna fetch here anyways. So we're gonna Remorse plus Bedevil. Yes, getting some in-game stuff is, I am not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure that that's covered under, if they're giving you stuff in-game, you're supposed to disclose that as well. Wow, okay, well, these zombies might go the distance, huh, chat? They're going the distance. They're going for speed. They're all alone in the time of need. Like I said, pretty sure the answer is yes. I'm not a lawyer. If you're seeking legal advice, you should talk to a lawyer. Of course, there are currently 1,965 people watching the stream, so if you need advice from a doctor, lawyer, astronaut, I'm sure you could get some from the people here in chat. I don't think you can, Jace. I'm pretty sure you click the link when you install it. I think I just put lethal into play here. I'm not a lawyer, but I slept at a Holiday Inn last night. Hey, congrats, Southern Man Gaming. If the second guild filled up and you started a second one, Juju, you should message Punchworthy so we can list it in the doc. All right, Esper. Am I just swapping like we did against the last Grixis player? I think it's just like 4 Creeping Chills out, eat, and Liliana in. seems good. None of these other cards seem very useful. Like, Libation making them sacrifice a Saga doesn't seem particularly good. Redcap Melee does have kind of bizarre art. You're not wrong. So long as we've kept Creeping Chill in a standard deck, no, I wanted to give it a real shake playing a bunch of matches with it, but I definitely think my conclusion after playing this is I prefer the more mid-rangey build. Regisaur's been like, okay, Embercleave is a good card, obviously, but I think Creeping Chill is some nonsense. We don't really want to just like randomly be helixing people. That's not like what these matches are about, if that makes sense. I think I just calls the dead. Perfect. And then we have Murderous Rider to get this out of here so we can get Kroxa back later. I need a second red before I can get Kroxa back anyway, so like not a huge rush. Perfect. Gonna decline to exile my Kroxa. Let's ride down on this. I'm gonna bottom that. Maybe I'm supposed to keep that actually. Yeah, maybe actually I'm supposed to keep that because it fills the bin. And like Kroxa dying, I'd like to bring it back right away. Yeah, I think I messed up and I should have kept that on top of my deck, the Mire Triton. This card's like pretty exceptionally bad against us, which is one of the upsides you get when you play a deck that's kind of off the beaten path like this. Is you'll have people include things like this that aren't particularly good against you. Okay, I mean, that's the thing that desparked eggs. What should we name our Twitch baby? I don't know. Usually I let the sub pick. Thanks for the 9 months, Luna Locus. Welcome back. We had a mono red deck claim us earlier today. Was not a good scene. Oh, did they just decline to shock that in? What even is the auto tapper, chat? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me no more. Whoa, 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 hey, hey, hey. We get to deal 4 with this, which is good before they despark it. Bye, friend. So, overall, I think this red-black Titan archetype is super reasonable. I'm not sure I was a huge fan of the kind of more aggressive changes in this build, though. I think Creeping Chill is definitely hot nonsense. I would get rid of that. I think it's very possible Rotting Regisaur is reasonable. Embercleave was excellent at multiple points. I think I would definitely play these again. The last time we played this, we played some more escape cards. We had some Phoenix of the Ash, and that card was very reasonable. If you're interested in seeing the more mid-range build in action, as always, you can flip back on my YouTube channel and my website, but I think the aggressive cards in this versus the kind of little bit more interaction, a little bit bigger, a little bit more consistently finding things to escape, I think I preferred the other build a little bit. Something that I would like to explore in this deck if we played it again is, in the Aristocrats deck we played, playing Ashiok to mill ourselves while also being main deckable Graveyard Hate was very good. So I think there's probably merit to exploring playing 4 Phoenix of the Ash in this deck, and then also playing 2 or 3 Ashiok as a way to find our 8 escape cards more consistently, while also enabling the graveyard to be filled to cast them. Alright, what are we doing? I'm going to hit a quick ad roll while I get set up for the next deck, and then when I get back, we are going to play some Esper Thassa. So, lots of fun things to be blinking here. We'll be back in just a few. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for hanging out today, folks.